Hi, I'm Nairi and I've got an adoption support channel. I've also got 2 adopted brothers and 5 birth children. We adopted the brothers about 9 years ago from foster care, and today I'm going to share with you 5 things that I think I wish I'd known before we adopted them. And obviously we knew them really well before we adopted them, but there's still 5 things that I wish I'd known about adoption. So the first thing I want to say to you is the bonding that happens with an adopted child is not necessarily automatic. So for a lot of us, we see films, we think about bringing home that lovely newborn baby or toddler, and we just think we're going to bond immediately with them. Now, we had our boys for a long time before we actually adopted them, and I would still say that the bonding that we have with them has grown over time, and it's deepened. And for a lot of adopters that I speak to or hear from, they worry about if they've not had that bonding initially or immediately, whether they need to worry. And I would just say that something that I wish I'd known was even the fact that we'd had the boys for 6 out of the 9 years before we adopted them, that bonding is still growing now and deepening, and it's not something to worry about. I think that's really common. So that's my first thing. My second thing is, I don't think society is ready for adoption in the way that we think they are. So we've had a lot of situations where we've gone to doctor's appointments, dentists, different professionals, where the boys have been spoken to or spoken over, and they've had their previous surname discussed, they've had their part of their history discussed. So we had a recent paediatric type appointment where the whole of some of the problems that my son has gone through, both physically and mentally, were discussed right in front of him. And that happens often, and I don't know whether it's because we had our boys from foster care, but it seems to me anyway, that there is no thinking about trying to protect our children, our adopted children, from hearing what they don't need to hear. And this is equally similar, I think, from the public at large that ask questions, and not so much family and friends that are close to you, but acquaintances. When they ask questions around the adoption, a lot of people are curious and they want to know a little bit more about them. And sometimes that's curiosity and sometimes it's being nosy, and you've just got to stand up for what you think's right. So you've got to think about what you're happy to share and what you're not happy to share. And the question that I get asked really often about the boys: are they brothers? Are they natural brothers? And I just think that's a really odd question, because it wouldn't make any difference if they weren't natural brothers, because if we'd adopted them separately and brought them into our family, they're brothers. But people don't really think about what they're saying. So that's the second thing. The third thing that I would want to share with you is children, or should we say adoption. At the heart of adoption, whatever way you look at it, whatever angle you come from, will include trauma and loss. So you can't extricate yourself from the fact that you are part of a bigger picture, and that is the birth family, the first family that the children have come from. You can't pull yourself away from that, and you try as you might, you never will do. There will always be that knowledge of there being a first family and a connection with your child, and ethically it's right to consider retaining that information in your mind, remembering that your child has come from another background. But also, even if you have a very young child, and you'll hear this on the adoption channels, mine as well, over and over again, trauma features for that child because they've been removed from that first family. Then there is the additional trauma on top if they've suffered abuse and neglect on top of that as well. The fourth thing that I want to share with you is the process of adoption can be long and windy and complicated, because there's so many things that can go wrong and get in the way. Now, I've only experienced a closed adoption in the UK, so my experiences will be different, I'm sure, from yours. But I think wherever you are and whatever adoption you go for, there will be complications. Things like birth family stepping forward to contest, other family members stepping forward that were unexpected, breakdown of a matching process where you thought you were going to be the chosen couple or person for that child. there are just so many things that can get in the way, changes of professionals that are dealing with you, and so there are lots of time delays, hold-ups, surprises, excitements, disappointments. And so before you go for it, you need to be thinking to yourself, am I resilient to take whatever knocks come my way? Because often it's not a personal knock, it's nothing about you, it's about a system that you're in, or it's about considering all of the parties involved in the adoption. So that is the thing. Sometimes adopters get very despondent of the waiting, but I would say that wherever you are, before you start this process, you can expect some waiting at some point that you weren't expecting. So the final thing to say is we've had our adopted children for a while now in total, and we are now older, and so it's easy to fall into the trap of just thinking about cute adopted young children and seeing the cuteness of them, which they are. I mean, when our boys first came, they were the cutest of children that you could possibly see, and they still are beautiful. But children present with challenges as they get older, and adopted children possibly more than other children, as they might display challenging behaviour or stuff that comes out of the trauma. And also as you get older as well, things become a little bit more tiring and a little bit more difficult, and so it's good to stay grounded. It's good to have a balanced view of adoption and remember that life will present challenges along the way, and you can't always look at things through rose-tinted glasses. So I hope that helps you guys, and if it does, please subscribe, and I'll see you on my channel. Thank you.